We start the chapter out on Egghead Island where Zoro and Brook are chilling on the ship. Nothing new as they were talking about the fact that Egghead is a government island. Then we get a Nami and Usopp being excited about the futuristic looking costumes, and then we get information from Lilith about how the island runs by fire and how if she had unlimited fire she could create a sun, which seems pretty interesting considering we have a fire devil fruit user. Then we see Lilith being able to pass through the wall as the Straw Hats follow her. And then the most interesting part arrives. The crew runs into a Seraphim Jimbe. At that moment, Frankie gets shocked that Jimbe is sitting inside that room, but Robin quickly explains how that is not Jimbe, as the other members are as surprised as Frankie, since one of them thinks that Seraphim Jimbe is Jimbe's son, which is pretty smart, Usopp, pretty smart from you, dude. But then Frankie's mood suddenly changes as he becomes more serious and aggressive towards the Seraphim, as he says that even if he looks like a kid, he is as big as the real Jimbe, and quickly he realizes that he is dealing with a pacifista. Then Sera Jimbe shoots a blast from his hand that causes a massive explosion. As they realize that the little Jimbe is an enemy, the Straw Hats start to fight back, which leads to something no one expected. This pacifista started using a familiar ability, which is the same abilities of the Swim fruit that Senior Pink owns. A power that grants the ability of swimming on land, and of course every Straw Hat was shocked, especially Frankie, as he is the most familiar with it. At that moment, Jimbe runs forward into Nami, or might I say, Sera Jimbe runs into Nami and grabs her by the neck. And of course, who is other than our boy Sanji to rescue Nami, as he strikes Sera Jimbe with lamed kick, which leakers of course had to twist it and make it like Sanji got beat up. As Sanji kicked Jimbe into a distance, the other crew members ganged up on the Seraphim, and it was futile until Frankie decided to shoot his radical beam, which caused Dr. Vegapunk Edison to panic, as he mentioned that the Seraphim is still young and shouldn't go through facing a beam head on yet, as he was never tested with beams. Dr. Vegapunk Lilith ended up getting angry after the incident, as she mentions that the Seraphims are very expensive and they can't afford to lose them. But soon after, Dr. Vegapunk Edison, who if you don't know, since he is Dr. Vegapunk number 3, he embodies Dr. Vegapunk aspects of thinking, which explains why he tries to quickly think of new things. As we see here on the chapter, he thinks of new inventions and quickly leaves the room, as he keeps Dr. Vegapunk Pythagoras in charge, the one that embodies the wisdom. And as Edison writes his ideas, he asks Dr. Vegapunk York to eat for him, as she embodies greed. Well, yes, greed in the literal sense. And of course, she starts eating like a fat kid at McDonald's. Going back to Pythagoras, he mentions that the Seraphim attack patterns continues to develop as he grows, and well, this is something no one expected from an already overpowered pacifistas. The fact that they can grow is just unimaginable, and if you want to know more about it, make sure to watch the video where I explain the Seraphim's power and their potential. Pythagoras also explains they have the ability to accelerate their growth, but there will be obstacles. And as we learn in more interesting stuff, the 4th Doctor stomachs start to kick in. But as we learn that York is the one who eats, sleeps, and dumps for everybody. A voice then out of nowhere asking Sera Jimbe to stop. The Straw Hats also at that moment realize they can't move due to their boots, and there where the first Dr. Vegapunk, Shaka, appears and explains that the shoes are magnetically disabled in the laboratory. And when the Straw Hats ask him about his identity, he reveals he is also a Vegapunk, which they start mocking him for since they already heard two people saying the same thing. And out of nowhere, Shaka asks an odd question by saying, "Do you think this island looks like the future?" And of course, Frankie answers excited and explains how impressed he is by how futuristic it is and how it exceeds his expectations. And at the same time, Luffy's crew found rusted ancient stuff, but as Jimbe mentions, it is technology. And at that moment, Shaka explains to Frankie that long ago there was a highly advanced kingdom. There where we arrived at the last panel. That is, it is so good that I will have to read it for you. Not unlike Egghead when it comes to technology, a civilization from 900 years ago. Would you believe me? And we get a very great looking panel, and that's it. Overall, even though the chapter didn't have much action, but it was very informative and set more expectations for the plot and the next chapters. But we still have more to come in the upcoming chapters, of course, considering Law and Blackbeard is still happening, and I will make sure to cover it in the next video. Hope y'all enjoyed, guys. See ya in the next one.